allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Jeff Capel.
Here.
Councilwoman Joe Cole.
Here.
Councilman Lee Zerwanka.
Here.
Vice Mayor Pramod Jabari.
Here.
Councilman Joe Leet.
Here.
Councilwoman Katie Schneider.
Here.
Mayor Mark Serkin.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept tonight's agenda?
So
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Councilman Zerwanka, would you like to go through the Beautification Award presentation?
We'll send them down this way. Again, this year we had Beautification Award judging. The process took place in June, with the city receiving 44 residential property nominations. All properties nominated for an award were judged by the committee. Examples of the judging criteria included general maintenance, garden variety, use of color, and overall appearance. This year's Beautification winners are invited to tonight's meeting, and I will go ahead and read these off for you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we have a few of them here, yeah. First off is 10116 Kentwood Road, the Yazbek and Mank residence. There he is. He's always good at this too. Correct. Next one, 4953 Muir Woods Court, the Groneman and Flanagan residence. Are they here tonight? You don't see that. Next one, 4490 Cheswick Drive, Foster residence. Are the Fosters here? Well, get them to them, see them, I guess. The next is the mayor's choice, 9679 Waxwing Drive, the Marshall residence. So Marshall's here. I guess we'll get them to them at a later date. But thank you, Mr. Yazbek. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. Round of applause.
Right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the work session August 10th, 2021?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And do I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of August 12th, 2021? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any communications to council, Jane?
There are none tonight, Your Honor.
Any reports from outside agencies? The mayor's report will be entered into the public record. Do I have a motion to accept the financial report for August of 2021?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move to hearings from citizens. If you wish to speak, please approach the microphone, state your name and address. If you have any materials to pass out, please give them directly to Jamie, the clerk of council. Please keep your comments as brief as possible to allow others a chance to be heard. Hearings from citizens is for us to listen to you and your neighbors. It is very unlikely that we will make any comments immediately after you speak. We need to have a chance to reflect on your comments. Sometimes we do, during miscellaneous business, revisit an issue brought forward. The clerk of council will notify you when 3 minutes has passed, and at that point, please wrap up your presentation. Most importantly, let's all treat each other calmly and with respect. Please give your name.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name is Joe Trout, members of council. I'm an attorney with Keating, Michigan, Lee Camp. I represent Dr. David Schluter and his wife, Peggy. They own the property at 9500 Kenwood Road. And they built this investment of 15,000 square feet, combination restaurant, retail, office in the mid 80s with the cooperation of the city of Blue Ash. They worked with Blue Ash coordinating the facade easement. And this building is their lifetime investment. Their main restaurant, Mio's, which is run by Sean King, who is also here this evening, is being affected by change in plans. And in March of this year, with 74% approval of the citizens of Blue Ash in the survey, concept B was accepted by council and voted on as approved. Since then, we have found out that the plan has been flipped such that the parking is now right in front of Mio's as opposed to being on the other side. And this very much affects my clients and Mio's vis-a-vis their approximate location to the square that they've enjoyed all these years. We have determined that this alternate plan has not been officially approved by council, and therefore we would ask that it be reconsidered and flipped back to the way it was. Again, we have, Dr. Sloot has enough parking for his building behind. So in fact, parking would be where it was on the other side, would not adversely affect him. So we believe that since the original plan was made up with the cooperation of Dr. Sloot and his wife, that the original plan that was approved in March should be followed. With the effects of COVID on Mio's business, Sean is getting back to normal, and he's afraid that this change is going to have an effect on his dining in general and his outdoor dining. So we would respectfully request that the plan be changed back to what it was and what was approved in March. With that, I'll ask my clients and Sean to speak. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Sean King, pizzeria, the Mio's Pizzeria at 9500 Kingwood Road. As he so well put, we have families who enjoy dining on the patio. Right now, it's just a concrete concourse out there for plenty of children to get to go run and play or hang out as they're waiting for food, and a lot of our clientele enjoy that. So that turns into a parking lot, it really changes the dynamic behind the restaurant. The events that are held with the symphonies. Now there's the Zumba classes that happen back there, where people can just walk right over afterwards. It's just changing that really does potentially hurt us there. So when we did meet with some with the representative, I believe in March 2nd, talked about the thought that there was a playground back in that area, or potentially in that area. I thought that was extremely helpful or beneficial to, again, just that aspect of being able to have a family sit there and allow their children to play while still being very close to the restaurant. As I said, it just changes the whole view from something nice to just more pavement. It's really all I have to add to this one. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking this time to listen to us. I've been a member of this community.
Can you give us your name and
Oh, I'm
address?
sorry. I'm Dr. David Schluter. I'm the owner, one of the owners, my wife owns it, the owners of 9500 Kingwood Road. We live in Montgomery. I was practicing in Blue Ash for 32 years.
That was one of your clients.
I'm sorry?
That was one of your clients.
I went to grade school with that guy. Wait, I've known him since 1958. So I've been part of the community all my life. I had an import of my wife from Northern Ohio, and she's been grateful that she got here. Our whole heart and soul has been involved with Blue Ash. I practiced, I took care of the people of Blue Ash. And Mark Thompson, when they had this idea of taking my office, which was where the present bandstand is now, and making it the square, I respectfully picked it up and literally moved it to Kenwood Road. And then we worked with them to integrate the building with the square. Instead of putting a building up that you could put trucks in the back and stuff, they wanted glass, they wanted a restaurant on the square, which costs more to build. But we worked with them. We said, long-term, Blue Ash is the place to live and to work. And it was a working relationship. We put a breezeway through because they wanted egress from the parking lot to the square. So that there's lots of access to with the square integrated. Sean has graciously sponsored the events, the Friday night bands on the square in the summer, and it's worked out very, very well. There's no other community that I'm aware of in the surrounding area that has a restaurant right on the city square. None. And what you're doing is taking the square away and putting up a parking lot there. Obviously, there's a communication issue here, I'm sure. And I realize that we may not have recognized all the, not only financial, but the aesthetic implications of flipping a parking lot like it was done. And we sorry to reconsider this so that downtown Blue Ash will continue to be successful.
Dr. Schuler and Sean, Mr. Trout. Is anybody else that'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'm going to close the hearings from citizens and we'll move to committee reports. Finance and Administration, Councilman Zerwanka.
Can you please read resolution number 2021-43 by title only?
Providing for amendments within the 2021 annual appropriation resolution number 2020-62.
Move to adopt resolution number 2021-43.
Second.
Discussion.
I have some questions on it. So there's 3 specific items in here. The first and the last one are pretty routine for what a resolution like this normally does. The first one's little extra money for the fire department. The last one is basically distributing TIF money that we knew was going to be distributed anyways. My question is on the middle item, additional budget of $210,000 for legal services. Now at budget time, we already put in significant amounts of money for legal services, and 2 of the 3 items cited here have been going on for years. So I guess what I'm just wondering is what has happened to require so much extra money for legal services on items that we already knew were happening?
Dave or Brian?
Yeah, I mean, whoever is comfortable answering it. I'm just curious what's causing this additional 210,000 here.
Well, it does say it's an estimate.
Right, and the estimate's 210,000. So that's what I'm asking about.
The information related to the need of the money is in the memo.
Right, I'm reading that here.
The original amount that was put in the budget is our normal annual amount. We didn't really have a full understanding of what the impacts were going to be at that time.
So that if this passes, since we normally budget over 400,000 for legal services, are we then thinking that this year we might be spending up to
600 to 700,000 on legal services this year?
Yeah, that's exactly what could happen. And that's not unusual. Once in a while you have spikes, particularly with the litigation on some of the things around the roundabout. The pipeline finally finished up. And there's just a number of other things going on that the cost of litigation has gone up.
I don't think I've ever been around. We've had a year with as many unusual issues like the pipeline and 3 roundabouts and obviously having to deal with some of the property owners. So it's just a one-off. I don't think it's that complicated.
Yeah, you have 3 particular litigation going on with the roundabout itself.
Any other further discussion? Questions? Seeing none.
Fisher, one of those is sitting here.
What?
This guy here has sued us several times, including right now. The guy just took 3 minutes and probably going to sue us some more.
That wasn't funny. All right, Jamie, please call the roll.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilman Leet,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hull. Yes. Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Jamie, please read resolution number 2021-44 by title only.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for professional legal services and providing compensation therefore.
Move to adopt resolution number 2021-44.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Jamie, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider, Councilman Leet,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hull. Yes. Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Jamie, please read resolution number 2021-45 by title only.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into contracts for employee benefit coverages and authorizing the city manager to execute related documentation and contracts.
Move to adopt resolution number 2021-45.
Second.
Discussion? And seeing none, Jamie, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilman Leet,
Yes.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hull. Yes. Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Jamie, please read resolution number 2021-46 by title only.
A resolution to levy special assessments on real property for the total cost of mitigating noxious weeds and high grass pursuant to Chapter 911 of the Blue Ash Code of Ordinances and ORC 715.261.
To adopt resolution number 2021-46.
Second.
Discussion? Where we assess back on taxes, where we have to take care of problem properties. As far as- Anything else?
Got some frequent flyers?
There are a few. Yes. Any other questions or concerns? Jamie, please call the roll.
Councilman Leet, Councilwoman Hull. Yes. Vice Mayor Javari,
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka,
Yes.
Councilman Capell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Mayor Serkin.
Yes.
7 yeses.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to move to planning and zoning. Vice Mayor Javari, chairperson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a motion. Number 1 is motion setting a public hearing for September 23, 2021 at 7:10 PM to consider approval of conditional use permit for a small office at 5001 Cooper Road. Anybody has a question? If it's not,
You need a second?
I'll second the motion.
second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any nay? Thank you. Second one, I have ordinance. Jerry, would you please read ordinance number 2021-3 by title only?
Approving a concept planned unit development and zoning map amendment for a 48.9 acre mixed-use development at 11500 Reed Hartman Highway in the Blue Ash North zoning district. And this is the second reading.
This is second reading, so we don't have to go for the move to suspend? No. Okay. So move to adopt the resolution number 2021-03. Someone will second?
Well, it was a table.
No, I just, with seconds.
Yeah, somebody has to second.
I'll second it for the purposes of putting it on the table to discuss it.
Okay, Jimmy, please call roll call.
Are we
Or do we,
gonna discuss?
anybody, any discussion for this particularly ordinance we talking here? For 48.9 acre mixed use development on the former east campus of PNG sites in Blue Ash North Zone.
Like to start?
Anybody wants to
I'll
talk?
I'll go ahead and start. From a historic perspective here, we as a city have sunk several millions of dollars over the years into that end of the city. And what we're talking about is basically the old PGs. And what we've done is designed and built that interchange with 275. And yes, PNG is gone. And now it's a vacant building. That vacant building has $10 million worth of asbestos in it. What is being proposed here is for lack of better words, warehouse buildings, light industrial. And there's no guarantee on how many employees are there. There's no guarantee on what kind of salaries they're going to bring in to the city. I'd like to see a return on our dollars on the property as far as the earnings tax goes. I think the city would too, not all of us would. So, at this point in time, I'm saying no. The right fit. And it's all spec at the same time.
Yeah, my comments would be, so they applied under a PUD, which essentially means the developer can pretty much ask for what they want, and then we can accept it or reject it essentially based on what we feel like. Of course, maybe I'm oversimplifying that a little bit, but I don't want to get stuck on that point. But when I look at what they're proposing, it's things like apartments, a car wash, restaurants. These are the kind of things that I'm not sure I'd be excited about some of this stuff in many places in Blue Ash, and certainly not there. When I look at this specific location and what has been there before and what could be there in the future, this is the kind of thing Warren Buffett would call a big elephant. So what he means by that is when you manage as much money as Warren Buffett, you can't really afford to go look at every little small company out there, because investing $2 million and when you have as much money as he does, that you can't get enough of a rate of return to justify the time it takes. So what he talks about is he's stuck with hunting big elephants. We're talking that getting entire companies or major divisions of major companies. This location here is such a prime location that this is our version of hunting a big elephant. We should be looking for a major win here, a major land, not drive-through restaurants and car washes and apartments. We should be thinking much bigger than that. So if we're going to be asked to approve something like approve a PUD, and this is what's going to be in it, then I'm not at all excited about this. And it's not even something that we can just do an amendment here and there and make it something good. This is just woefully inadequate for the area, so I will be voting no.
I would like to just tag onto that a little bit. We own a flex building, like kind of probably what they're talking about building, and what our experience has been over the time that owning the building. It might start out with fewer employees, but as companies grow, they're hesitant to move, and so they build more office space and wind up staying. And we have one of our 7,000 square feet units, it's 50% office, and it has a mezzanine also. So, that's not necessarily, you don't know how it's gonna happen in individual case, but that's been kind of the thing that happens with these types of billing. But I share your concern, Jeff, about, the car wash, the fueling station, the drive-through restaurant. These are things that we hear from our citizens, that they are just really not wanting to see a whole lot of them. I just feel uncomfortable giving carte blanche to that without really having any more say in it.
Anything else?
I just quickly, I just think the presentation, the submission is way too ambiguous. Kind of asking for a blank check for 49 acres of land with very little detail. Planning Commission denied it unanimously. I think we stick with our zoning in the area. I don't see a reason to return the Planning Commission version.
And the last thing we need is a car wash and more apartments and a gas station, just like a dentist office. But,
Need more of those.
I have to agree, this is just not gonna float. I don't like anything about it.
Any comment?
I did pretty well. I also agree that having those additional uses that are beneficial. The other portion of that with the warehousing or apps, that the rest of it.
I'm concurring with everyone who says everything, but I'm just looking into this entrance from the 275 into Reed Hartman, and when you have a car wash and drive-through restaurant and mixed use, it doesn't symbolize what Blue Ash wants or what Blue Ash is. And looking at these things, it looks like just take out from here and take out and put it down over there and put it here. So I am thinking the same way as everybody says, that is not approval, it's not approvable, this PUD for me. Anybody else want to discuss? Jimmy, can you call the roll call, please?
Councilman Zerwanka?
No.
Councilwoman Cole? No. Councilwoman Schneider? Vice Mayor Javari?
No.
Councilman Lee?
Absolutely not.
Councilman Patel?
No.
Mayor Serkin?
No.
7 no's.
That's all, Mayor, I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna move to the Public Works Committee, Councilperson Lee.
Jamie, please read resolution number 2021-48 by title only, please.
Authorizing the purchase of a 2022 International Grapple Truck plus related accessories or equipment through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Move to adopt resolution 2021-48.
Second.
And this is to get us a new grappling truck, and this is approved in the budget already, and I see absolutely no issue. Does anybody got a word on it? Seeing none, Jamie, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Javari?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cole?
Yes.
Councilman Lee?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka?
Yes.
Councilman Capell?
Yes.
Mayor Serkin?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay, we're gonna move to miscellaneous business. David, you want to start off?
I guess I'll address just briefly, because I do think in October we'll be giving you an update on the town square plans as we continue to develop them. Just some quick reactions to tonight. As I said, the October, one of the October meetings, I think we'll give you an update. I think you'll be very excited about the different things that are being proposed to that. The one concern I have is I know our Parks and Rec Director, Brian Cruz, is trying to schedule a meeting to share some of the plans and what have you. I just don't think that's happened. So I do think there's a lack of information by the individuals here tonight that expressed concern with that. Because clearly the intent of us redoing Town Square is not to harm anyone. It's actually to reinvigorate that area that's a bit underutilized. And I know we've spent a lot of design time really trying to help incorporate all of those businesses along there, including Neo's, who has been a great partner. We want them to be part of that. And so I think probably the best thing moving forward is just to make sure that that Brian does have those meetings with those parties and help them understand a lot of the improvements that will happen on that. Other than that, we've shared those plans for anyone other than that particular one. We've shared those plans ongoing, we communicate them regularly. I certainly don't feel bad about the lack of information we push out in the e-blasts and the newsletters. And I think, as I said before, I think everyone's going to be real excited about some of the designs that's starting to emulate from that. I know we also have a meeting scheduled with the American Legion soon to show them some of the enhancements to the Veterans Memorial. So I think there's a lot of excitement for it. Certainly want to be sensitive to any business next to it, but we've met with most of the other businesses. They're all pretty excited about it. So we'll make sure that meeting happens at some point in time. That's not been a delay on our part. But we're excited about that. We think it represents a real reinvestment in the downtown area. And I think in the current format, everyone kind of agrees it's just a little stale. So I just want to reemphasize the point here is to try to help and reinvigorate that whole area, not harm anyone. So I think that's all I really have.
Got it?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind council that next Tuesday, September 14th at 7 p.m., we are hosting a presentation in partnership with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That is free and open to the public. It was planned to be at the North Fire Station, but our partner has asked that we move it outdoors with rising COVID cases. So it will now be in the Maple Shelter in the Nature Park. That's the shelter closest to the rec center rear parking lot. So we hope that you can make it, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Defeaters.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone that this Saturday is our 9/11 stair climb for the 20th anniversary of the tragedy on 9/11. We have a pretty big event scheduled. The event will be starting around 8 o'clock with the first climber starting as the first plane at the building 9:46. So we have American Legion participating this year. We have Air Care. We actually have a piece of steel from the World Trade Center that'll be on site, which would be interesting to see. But if you have the ability to come out, we'd love to see you. The event will probably go to around lunchtime, and we have 30 climbers that will be taking the 10 trips up the tower steps to mimic the 110 stories that the firefighters and police officers ascended on that day.
Approximately how much weight are they going to be carrying in equipment?
So if they're in full gear, which many of them are, it's going to be about 45 to 50 pounds. One of our firefighters, Scott Reed, he is actually the one that kind of spearheaded this on our end, is actually going to be carrying an American flag that was flown over the World Trade Center the entire time as he's going up and down. So, and then we'll present that when he's done and display that proudly at the fire station.
So just to clarify, the event starts at 8 a.m.
Correct.
But you said you're going to start climbing at 9:46?
Yeah, 8:46. Yeah,
that's when the first plane
correct
to North Tower.
Chief, a quick question. Are members of the public invited to climb the stairs as well, or is this really for just the safety?
So we have opened it to the public, and there is the ability for them, if they show up, there's a QR code, they can sign up. This year we did, there's a $50 fee, and that's going to the National Fallen Firefighters Association and the Tunnel to Towers group. That's the gentleman that, if you've been following the news, he's actually walked from all the way from all the different sites, from the Pentagon to Shanksville to New York City, and he's arriving that morning. So there's the ability to do that, and we have spaces available during those morning sessions that people can sign up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And obviously you can donate to the fund Even if you. don't
Yeah, we're
plan
gonna
to
have
travel?
that ability, and we're gonna have a fill the boot. You can sponsor a flag. That's the other thing I failed to mention. We're gonna have 2,973 flags on the Great Lawn to represent everybody that passed away on that day. So you can sponsor a flag. We're keeping those. People aren't taking those, but they can sponsor a flag, and there'll be boots around to collect money for that.
Fantastic.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Chief Noel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to extend an invitation. We are having our annual open house next Wednesday, the 15th, beginning at 4 p.m. and it will run to 7. So I hope everybody can make that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Brian? No, just to add to what Chris mentioned, just proud to see the park used in such a way, the tower, in such a unique, interesting way. It's a real proud day for Summit Park. Look forward to Saturday. Thank you. Gordon, there you are.
Right. All right, I have several things to update. First of all, our paving program is going to begin with them mobilizing in this Friday. They're going to be starting on Creek Road with catch basin repairs and also base repairs of the asphalt pavement. That will be one that if you can avoid driving through there when they're working on that, it'd be best to try to avoid that just because they're going to be paving it. It will still be open to traffic, but with all the trucking that goes through there, it'll be interesting. Ken Ridge subdivision right now, Cincinnati Waterworks is currently installing a new water main in that neighborhood, Ken Ridge, and then the loop all the way around the lake. So that began this week, and it should be completed by December. Hunt and Plainfield, the road construction began this week. Over the past couple months, you've probably been seeing a lot of utility relocation. The actual road construction is beginning this week. Obviously, the demolition of the gas stations, the old Speedway is well underway. They pulled the tanks starting yesterday. And so that's going to continue. And just as a reminder, all that information for residents that are interested can follow that on our website. It's on the bottom of the main page that you can get to the Plainfield and Hunt Roundabout Project website, which we will be updating with regular updates as we go. Also, the Hunt House began this week. They're starting to relocate the utilities inside to do the structural improvements in the ground floor. And the Osborne pipe restoration is mostly complete. We just have to plant one tree, recheck the irrigation system for that property, and that will also be complete. The pond will be again being filled shortly after we take care of some of the vegetation issues that have grown in there. And then lastly, I wanted to mention that we've been having some issues with tractor trailer traffic at the Malsbury-Kenwood intersection. As you've seen, if you've driven through there, you've probably seen damage to the, there's some bollards on that corner, on the northwest corner of the intersection. The trucks have actually damaged the safety gates at the railroad crossing as well. One of the gates was knocked down several months ago. It's getting damaged continually. So one of the things that I'd like to bring to council at a future council meeting would be to prohibit trucks from entering Malsbury at Kenwood only. So they would just use the same truck route they've always used to access off of Reed Hartman. But that's just something that we think from a safety perspective and the safety of that equipment, it'd be a recommendation that we proceed forward with that at a future meeting.
Thank you. Sherry?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Julie?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Amy?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Ann?
Yes, sir.
Rachel? Counselor?
Nothing.
Good.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Yeah?
Just going to hit 2 quick items in regard to the town square. It's just, I have my maps in front of me of what was presented a few weeks ago. I didn't quite visualize everything, so I'll definitely go home and take a look at the maps and kind of visualize exactly where the new proposed parking lot is in relation to everything. Make sure that those before us do have an opportunity to have their concerns heard and considered. I'll also add too, it's just, I think the number one thing we want to make sure we do is just make the town square something that people come to. That's going to be the best way for sure to help all of the businesses that are there. But obviously we want to do it as well as we can. And then the second issue I wanted to raise, since we had a couple of legal issues before us, is I know in the past I've asked before whether our city has our legal services set up exactly the way it should be. Now, I don't go on ad nauseum about it because a lot of things, if you make your point once in a session, that's sufficient. And of course, we want to make sure we keep good relationships across the table here. But I think that Blue Ash is overdue to look at whether we're doing this correctly. And it's really a simple issue that every business, every organization deals with. How much do you insource versus how much do you outsource? If you own one building and there's one elevator in the building, you don't hire a full-time elevator repairman to deal with that because, well, for one thing, elevator repairmen are extremely expensive. And for the most part, they'd be sitting around. So that's a clear issue that you would outsource that. You just call a contractor in to fix your elevator when you need it. Now, if you're running a 300-person business and you require 5,000 hours of professional accounting, you would not outsource that because outsourcing on a per hour basis is of course a lot more expensive than simply hiring someone to do the job. So in a situation like that, you would decide, do I hire 2 accountants or 3 accountants? And do I need to outsource a little bit of it? And for Blue Ash, I'm sure decades ago, we were at the point where maybe we only consumed 20 or 30 hours a month of legal services. But now, I know when I did a public records request about 5 years ago, I think we were somewhere around 1,400 or 1,500 hours. And based on what we've approved tonight, we may be pushing 2,000 hours plus of legal services this year. So I gotta say, I'm not sure outsourcing all of it, $250 an hour and $285 an hour is the right way to go. And I think at some point, we really ought to seriously sit down and look at whether we're doing this the right way. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah. Before you do that, I think that's a great point. The only thing I would, so that doesn't fester in people's minds too much, that's a nice, the 2,000 hours, the 1,500 hours, it's a nice thing when the person's doing the same task, when you hire a person to do the same task. The problem with law anymore, it's so specialized, I would be shocked if you found anyone capable of doing a variety of things. We have contract law, we have real estate litigation, we have zoning litigation separate, we have HR law, we have construction, bond management, and some attorneys can do a lot of things, but I would suspect our ability to get a reasonable attorney to do it. And the reason our expenses are going up is not the ordinary, when I say going up, it's, our expenses have always been there. It's not the ordinary solicitor that the city of Cincinnati has, some low-level attorney who just reviews contracts from time to time. Our cost, yeah, we do some of that, and actually what happens in Dinsmore is they assign that to younger associates at a lower hourly rate. Our costs become expensive when employees sue us after termination, when we have litigation over right-of-way acquisition and on. That's where it is. And you're just not gonna be able to do that in-house with someone. They're going to immediately outsource it. And, my only suggestion is if you're not sure that's accurate, most of you probably can talk to an expensive attorney, and they'll probably tell you the same thing. It's not likely you can get a good generalist that's gonna handle a variety of things, and that a $45 million organization that we are has. They typically don't have that breadth of experience. The other thing that's included in that legal bill, by the way, is our mayor's court thing. So mayor's court's a completely different set of skills and talents than someone doing bond counseling for a complex TIF deal. So I get the sentiment, I can understand it on a very rudimentary basis. Oh, we're spending this number of hours, that equals an employee. The problem is it's just such specialized hours that I suspect
we will always struggle with that. And I would just simply point to most small cities that have even the elected law director or something like that. That person just kind of just does some real basic stuff. And anytime they start doing anything complex, immediately they have to hire someone. Our challenge isn't the simple stuff, but I would contend that our staff probably does 80% of the simple stuff. Brian signs off on it. It's the complex stuff that drives the cost. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, those are all good points, and certainly, I hope I didn't give off the impression that I was suggesting we go all in the other direction. For one thing, I know bond work is a very specialized portion of the legal field. You would always want to hire a bond specialist anytime you have bond work to do, for example. So I mean, the farthest I could even imagine us ever going would be more of a hybrid approach. And it's similar to what the county itself does. The Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office has a civil division, and they essentially, they're not prosecuting people, they really just function as the attorneys for the county. But then when something specialized happens, they'll outsource that as necessary. Just the amount of hours we're consuming, I think it's, once every few decades, you have to look at things sometimes, and I think we're due.
I'll just state, I think Dinsmore is a phenomenal job. Thing with Dinsmore is, it's a one-stop shop. That's what Dave was getting at. They have all the different categories there, bonds or legal or mayor's court or whatever it is. It's a one-stop shop. We're just a small city. That benefits us as a one-stop shop, rather than shopping this all over the place. I've been here 18 years. I did mayor's court. It was a wonderful job that the legal team and my prosecutors did from Dinsmore. They were lower end associates. They learned. We pay at those rates. I mean, it's very good service that we had. So.
Yeah, and I'll say in the 3+ years that I've been here, we have received good service.
Thanks, thank the administration for our new written Ruby dance. I hope this don't stop us from getting a Christmas hand this year. That's all I have.
Vice Mayor Javari.
No, I don't have anything to say.
Quickly, just to feed on what Jeff was saying, there's over 100 specialties of law, and a city our size, I can't see how you could find someone, the majority of it. It's kind of like as a dentist, I can't be good at the 6 or 7 specialties of dentistry there are. We'll have our little niches, and I have never been dissatisfied with any of the legal work we've done for all the years I've been involved with this domestic relationship, and I am not real keen on changing things just for the sake of saving possibly maybe some money. Unless you can prove it to me that we're going to save big money. I think it's going to be difficult for you to do. I think we stay with the tried and true. The other thing I wanted to speak about is Town Square a little bit. It's been said several times, but I just want to assure the Schluters and John and Councilor Trout that the architects are aware of your business, the sight lines, the ambiance, the flow, the needs of your business and the other businesses. We haven't even seen the plan. Yes, you can see that there's a lower parking lot below me, I was gonna get that. But what you're gonna see from that patio and what that promenade is gonna look like next to your restaurant, I think we need to wait till we actually see some plans and actually see what that view is gonna be. You may be very surprised and very happy. With that, we talked about NAMI, we talked about the 9/11, and we talked about the police open house. So I'd like to move to executive session. We have personnel matters to consider: the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Dana, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cole?
Yes.
Councilman Zerwanka?
Yes.
Councilman Leet?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Javari?
Yes.
Mayor Serkin?
Yes.